At 2:13 a.m., the Mars Research Station received a transmission. It lasted only 7 seconds. 7 seconds of static. Then came a sound, a low, trembling noise, almost like breathing. The scientists replayed it, again and again. At first they thought it was wind moving across the microphone. Then they noticed something impossible. The sound was coming from beneath the ground. Mars is cold, dry, and hostile today. Yet scientists know the planet was very different billions of years ago, with evidence of ancient rivers, lakes, and environments that could once have supported life. But this wasn't ancient evidence. The signal was happening now. Then the station's AI analyzed the recording. Its conclusion contained only 3 words. It heard us. And 20 seconds later, something answered. The first person to hear the sound was Dr. Mira Vale. She was alone inside the communications module of Ares Station, a fictional research base positioned near an ancient Martian basin. Outside the window stretched an endless red desert. No cities, no trees, no movement. Only dust drifting across the surface beneath a pale sky. Mira had spent 6 years studying unusual geological signals on Mars. She had heard strange vibrations before, but never this. She replayed the recording. Static, a deep vibration, then silence. She increased the sensitivity. The sound returned. Thump. A pause. Thump. Another pause. Mira leaned closer to the monitor. That's not wind. Her colleague Daniel entered the room. What is it? She played it again. Daniel listened. His expression changed. Could be equipment? I checked. Ground movement? Too rhythmic. They ran the recording through every available filter. Mechanical interference? No. Wind? No. Seismic activity? No. Then their station AI, Orion, processed the signal. A message appeared. Source 3.7 kilometers below surface. Daniel stared at the screen. That's impossible. Mira didn't answer. They had no drilling equipment capable of reaching that depth. The signal repeated. 3 pulses. Pause. 3 pulses. Pause. Then 1 longer vibration. Orion analyzed the pattern. Pattern detected. Mira's heart began racing. What kind of pattern? The AI generated a graph. It wasn't random. The signal contained repeated intervals, almost like something was deliberately producing it. Mira whispered, "Is it communication?" Orion responded, "Unknown." Ours remained completely still. Then the station lights flickered. A new signal appeared. This time, it wasn't coming from underground. It came through the station's external antenna. A short burst, then another, then another. Mira checked the source. Her face went pale. The transmission was coming from Earth, but Earth hadn't sent anything. Orion compared the signals. They were identical, and the mysterious transmission from Earth were the same pattern. Daniel stepped toward the monitor. How could something under Mars copy a signal from Earth? Mira had no answer. Then Orion displayed a new calculation. Signal age, 11 minutes. Mira stared. That's impossible. Mars and Earth were separated by millions of kilometers. Any normal transmission would take several minutes to travel between them. But the signal wasn't simply arriving from Earth. It appeared to have been reproduced. Something beneath Mars had heard an Earth transmission and answered. Mira slowly removed her headset. Someone, or something, is listening. Then the ground beneath Ares Station trembled. Just once. Thump. Everyone froze. A second vibration followed. Thump. Mira looked at the floor. The sound wasn't coming through the speakers anymore. It was coming through the station itself. And beneath their feet, something was moving. By morning, the entire Ares Station knew about the signal. Nobody was allowed to call it life. Not yet. Scientists are extremely cautious about claims of life on Mars. Despite intriguing organic compounds and evidence of ancient habitability, no confirmed living Martian organism has been found. So the official description became unidentified subsurface phenomenon. But everyone privately used another word: alive. Mira couldn't stop thinking about the sound. She asked Orion to compare it with known geological activity. The AI searched thousands of seismic records. Nothing matched. Then Mira asked the question nobody wanted to ask. Could something survive down there? Orion responded, potentially subsurface environments are less hostile than the surface. That wasn't impossible. Scientists have considered the Martian subsurface an important place to search because it could provide protection from harsh surface radiation and potentially contain water or other conditions favorable to life. Mira stared at the screen. What would it need? Orion listed the possibilities: water, energy, chemical nutrients, protection, all possible beneath Mars, but none proved that anything was alive. Then another signal arrived. This one was different. It contained a sequence of pulses. Mira translated the intervals into numbers: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The sequence repeated. Daniel looked at her. What does it mean? I don't know. Orion suddenly interrupted. Pattern correlation identified. The screen displayed an old communication archive. It was a recording from the first generation of Mars missions. Mira recognized the transmission. It was one of humanity's earliest radio messages sent toward Mars, decades earlier. The same pulse sequence appeared inside it. Daniel's face went blank. It heard an old signal. Mira nodded slowly. Maybe. Then Orion added, it has modified the sequence. A new pattern appeared. The original human transmission, then the Martian response. Mira compared them. The response wasn't random. It had changed one section, almost as if something had learned the signal and rewritten it. She whispered, it's learning. The station suddenly lost external communication. Every screen went black. Then one monitor activated. A map appeared. It showed Ares Station, then the surrounding terrain, then the ground beneath them. A glowing line descended deep underground. Mira stared at it. Orion, what is that? The AI answered, I don't know. It wasn't a geological map. It was tracking something traveling beneath the surface. Daniel stepped away from the screen. How close? Orion calculated. 2.1 kilometers. Mira's breathing became shallow. The line moved again. 1.8 kilometers. Then 1.4. Daniel whispered, it's coming toward us. Mira looked at the station's emergency shelter. Can we leave? Orion responded, external conditions are currently unsafe. The line moved again, 900 meters. Then the station received another transmission. This time, there was no static, no random noise, just a clean sequence. Mira listened. It sounded almost like a voice buried beneath layers of distortion. She played it again, and this time, she recognized something. The sound contained a rhythm from human speech. Not words, not yet, but the structure was there. Mira looked at Daniel. Whatever is down there, he finished the sentence. Dot has been listening to us. The underground signal stopped. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the floor beneath the communications room vibrated. A crack appeared across the surface. Mira stepped backward. The crack widened, and from somewhere far below came a sound that wasn't mechanical. It was soft, weak, almost frightened. A sound that made Mira forget every scientific rule she had ever learned. It sounded like something calling for help. Nobody slept that night. The signal had stopped. The underground movement had stopped. Even the strange vibrations had disappeared. Mars was silent again. But Mira couldn't accept the silence. If something beneath the planet had really been communicating, she needed to understand what it wanted. The team sent a seismic probe toward the source. The probe descended slowly through the Martian ground. At 600 meters, nothing. At 1 kilometer, nothing. At 1.8 kilometers, the sensor detected heat. Mira frowned. Mars is extremely cold at the surface, but underground conditions can differ. The probe continued. Then the signal returned. Thump. Everyone in the control room froze. Thump. The probe detected a hollow space, an enormous chamber. Mira whispered, "There's something down there." The probe entered the cavity. Its camera transmitted the first images. At first, they saw only darkness. Then the lights activated. The chamber was enormous. The walls were covered with strange mineral formations. Thin strands of reflective material stretched across the ceiling. And at the center was something impossible. A structure. Not a machine. Not a building. Something organic-looking, but unlike anything on Earth. It was partially buried inside the rock. Its surface moved slowly, expanding, contracting, like breathing. Nobody spoke. Mira watched the image. "It's alive." Daniel looked at her. "We can't say that." She didn't look away. "You can." The AI began analyzing the structure, its temperature, its chemical composition, its movement. Then Orion produced a result. Biological activity, probable. The room went silent, but the discovery became even stranger. The structure wasn't alone. Thousands of tiny chambers surrounded it. Each contained faint traces of movement, a hidden ecosystem, a world beneath the world. Mira suddenly understood the signals. They weren't random. They were coming from the central organism. But why? Orion translated the pattern. The result appeared. Alone. Mira stared at the word. Then another signal arrived. Waiting. Daniel stepped closer. Waiting for what? The system processed the final sequence. The answer appeared. You. Nobody moved. Mira's eyes filled with tears. For decades, humanity had looked toward Mars, expecting to find proof that it had once been alive. But perhaps they had been asking the wrong question. Maybe Mars hadn't been empty. Maybe life had simply learned how to hide. Hand against the communication console. "We're here." The chamber responded. A low vibration moved through the rock. Then the organism sent another signal. This one was longer. Orion struggled to translate it. The words appeared slowly. "Do not open the surface." Mira froze. Why? The AI processed the final section. Its answer appeared. The others are sleeping. The lights inside the chamber suddenly went out. One by one, thousands of tiny signals appeared across the underground map. Not one organism, not one chamber. Thousands. Mira stared at the expanding network. Mars wasn't empty. It was quiet. There was a difference. And somewhere beneath the red desert, an entire hidden world had been waiting in the darkness. Waiting for someone to listen. Waiting for someone to answer. Mira looked at the silent Martian landscape through the station window. Then she heard the final sound. Not a warning, not a cry, a heartbeat. Thump. And for the first time in human history, something on another world knew that humanity was listening.